All right, so welcome to Munro Live. I am Eric. I'm usually behind the camera, but Sandy and I got invited to Austin to check out the Tesla Robotaxi, and unfortunately Sandy couldn't make it, so I swapped out one old guy for another one.
I'm the substitute Sandy for the day.
So we have Paul Turnbull with us, and why don't you just give a little bit about your background before we jump into why we're here. So Paul worked at GM for years and has helped develop a lot of the electric vehicles on the road today from GM, right?
Yes, and I've been with now Munro for about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And since my background is in electric vehicles, I also have experience with GM's autonomous program Cruise out at, they did San Francisco. They were here for a while. GM has chosen to go a different way at the moment. And so now we have Waymo here and Tesla doing autonomous on the streets of Austin. So it's a nice place to visit to get a chance to ride in some of these vehicles.
Yeah, so first, right off the bat, we had some issues with the app. It would not let me book a ride. So shout out to Tesla and one of the engineers over there, Eric, for hooking us up. Apparently the issue was something with my email, but once they got sorted, it seems to be working. So we just had a ride in a Waymo vehicle, and then we just had a ride in the Tesla Robotaxi.
Yep.
So my initial reactions, the Tesla seemed a little bit smoother when approaching stop signs or red lights. The Waymo seemed a little jerky, like it would stop and then it would like kind of creep forward, but it seemed a little jerky. Where the Tesla seemed a little more smooth, a little more sure of itself where it wanted to go. But both got us to and from smoothly for the most part. There was a little hiccup when we first got into the Tesla, which we'll show in the video. It tried to turn left onto a street and kind of
from the middle lane.
From the middle lane.
And there was a divider there. It had missed the two left turn lanes, so it wasn't able to get in due to traffic. It decided to try the left-hand turn anyway, and it pulled into the middle of the intersection, saw the red lights, and just stopped in the middle of the intersection. Fortunately, the Tesla engineers intervened and
the safety driver had to call someone to kind of navigate us out, and they did that. And once we got that hiccup, things were smooth. So, and that was just the first ride of many. We're going to ride it multiple times today, document it, and just kind of give our opinions at the end. But we want to give you a quick intro.
Yeah, first look.
Yeah, so far, 2 rides down. Only 1 barbecue down so far, and many more to come.
All right. Let's see how it does. So it decided to pick us up in this parking lot, which is about a block from where we were when we tried to call the cyber taxi. And we're on our way to the University of Texas. It's going, okay. It chose to make a left turn from, it pulled into the intersection and then saw a red light.
Tesla Robotaxi Square, how can I help you?
Can you navigate us out of this intersection, please?
Yes, do that. Give me 1 moment. there anything else I can help you guys with?
No, that should be it. We're back on pretty much in progress with this route.
Okay. Have a safe trip, guys.
Sure will. Thanks.
So out of curiosity, how often do you have to like intervene like that?
So, honestly, any other questions aside from work, I'm more than comfortable, answering and discussing. But something like that, I'm just not too. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, it's unfair.
I wouldn't want to provide any misinformation off of my experience and context alone.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So what is your job at Tesla then?
And at the moment, it's
So
help keep us safe.
For this question, for any and all questions, I'd like to refer you to the Robo Taxi app.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but
No worries.
just trying to be safe.
Yeah, it's always interesting for me to look at what the app sees and what the car is seeing, and it sees the things that are important and highlights them, which are the cars immediately around us. So that's what's important. There are traffic cones next to us, and it senses them as obstacles. Doesn't really highlight that they're traffic cones, though. Sees the light up ahead and the traffic on the road ahead.
Well, my initial reaction so far compared to the Waymo we just took, this is a little less jerky.
From a driving perspective, its touch on the accelerator seems more confident. But we've had one incident that may be a rare thing, but it was unusual, and the kind of thing that did not occur in the Waymo.
Like everything is under construction here in Austin.
Yeah, and actually it's going to be interesting to see how it handles this, because it's not an easy construction thing to handle. And that just cruised right through, no problem. Did exactly what it should do, which is nice to see. Slowed down appropriately and then navigated a tight squeeze between the construction and the curb absolutely perfectly. That's actually something that the Waymo application, at least according to people who have ridden it, I haven't experienced it, but some of the stories I've heard is that the construction has given it some trouble. But that's a fact of life, in any city in the U.S. Is that every summer it's under construction. here might be year round. Gotta love Austin. It's a beautiful town. We're up near campus now. All right, looks like we're here. Awesome. Hey, thanks a lot.
Please have a great day. Thank you for riding with us.
Hello from Waymo.
All right.
As we get going, just give us 1 minute to cover a few riding tips. This experience may feel futuristic, but the need to buckle up is the same as always. So keep your seatbelt fastened, please. If you're traveling with little ones or expecting, please see the seatback card for more information. We'll do all the driving, so please don't touch the steering wheel or pedals during your ride.
You got it.
We may
Yeah.
use interior cameras to check on riders, improve our products, and more. But our microphones are only on when you're connected to rider support. So sing your heart out. We can't hear you. You can also use the app or passenger screen to speak to a rider support agent at any time. In the rare case of an emergency, please keep your seatbelt fastened and remain in the car unless there's an urgent need to exit. Rider support will connect with you and provide assistance. Finally, relax and thank you for riding with us.
So one of the things that going over Lady Bird Lake or the Colorado River, that we've been told, and it's interesting to experience it for ourselves, that AI drives just a little differently than people. And we can see from the monitor what it is seeing, and it's keeping tabs on all the traffic, keeping us centered in the lane and following all the traffic laws. It saw the pedestrian on the side of the road just now. But when a person drives, they see that the pedestrian may be, say, for example, a child with a ball. And even though it's clear that the pedestrian was well off the road, if a person sees a child with a ball, then maybe they drive a little slower, because you never know when the kid's going to lose control of the ball and it's going to come out into traffic. And so just little things like that, it's going to be interesting to see how AI grows in sophistication and gets to the point where it can start understanding more of those kinds of things. What was the name of the barbecue we just went to?
Terry's.
Yeah, well,
Terry Black's barbecue.
Terry Black's barbecue. I have to say I'd recommend it. I'd say the baked beans were legendary. It does.
It's definitely being cautious.
It is cautious, but then it jumps on the accelerator every once in a while too. So that sort of confirms what we've had a few human Uber drivers as well here today, because the AI isn't allowed yet to go out to the airport, and so I was kind of curious about their perspective on
Another Waymo.
yeah, Waymo and Tesla cyber taxis. And their perspective is actually amazing, surprisingly supportive of it. Not only are they supportive of it, but the drivers using Teslas are using the full self-driving occasionally, just to keep the stress on the job down, so they don't have to drive every second of the time. Austin's a good town to be experimenting with this technology. It's a college town. They're pretty accepting of technology around here. Streets are mostly north, south, east, west. But even so, when there's construction, that's got to be tough on the AI to try to figure out what's going on.
It's creeping. Oh,
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that maybe a human wouldn't have done.
okay. Pick a lane.
Yeah, so it has to work around the bus that is not necessarily exactly in the lane. Yeah. It is nice that they show you on the screen what it can see, and that it does in fact see all the pedestrians. And the traffic cones. Overall, a nice uneventful trip across town. just one little hiccup where
It's
it did something that was a little odd?
overall smooth, but like every now and then little like jerky movements, like when it like wants to inch up closer to a stop sign or a red light, or
and then a pedestrian does something that it didn't expect, and then it'll be a little jerky. Highlighting the bicycle rider in green. And tilting the display to show vehicles coming in from the left when it's making a right-hand turn.
Almost there. Don't forget your phone, keys, or wallet.
Thank you.
For your safety, the doors will remain locked when we arrive. Pull the handle twice to exit. The first pull unlocks, the second opens the door.
That's probably just a quirk of the Jaguar that we're in, not so much a Waymo thing. They felt like they had to explain it. Yeah, a little jerky on the start there.
For your safety, the doors will remain locked when we arrive. Pull the handle twice to exit. The first pull unlocks, the second opens the door. You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
Okay.
and there goes another Waymo.
The whole autonomous driving thing is something that it's going to take some time before all the bugs are worked out. But I personally am really looking forward to this being an option all over the country, where you can call a car and pick you up. I'm dealing right now with, my parents are in their mid-90s, and my dad still drives.
Oh, wow. Is that just sheer stubbornness or determination?
The car is freedom, and it's really hard to give that up. So they want to be able to go where they want to go when they want to go there. And so this would give them an option. They're not real comfortable with Uber, because they don't necessarily trust the driver, right? It's a bit, I don't know, that maybe you're old school that way. But anyway, I think that they would feel more comfortable if it was a driverless vehicle. And I know that I would like to have that option when it gets to the point where I'm not able to drive, or if I'm just too damn lazy to drive.
Well, I mean, that whole convenience aspect to these autonomous vehicles is one of the selling points. So, and you figure as we, proceed further and further along into the future, that's one of the things that I guess we see ourselves utilizing more technologies for that whole sake of convenience. Like,
Right.
Look at even these delivery apps that we have out these days. like something as small as that is just cutting down on the time that we use to drive to and from places, just so we can have these items delivered to our front porch or door.
Yep.
So why not have that, the same type of perspective of service with our vehicles, or just even driving in general?
I have to say that relative to Waymo, it managed that there was a pedestrian in the way just as it wanted to make a left. And it managed it very much the way a person would. Waited till the person was safe, but then, goes when the person is passed. Whereas the Waymo in that situation was a bit jerky and hesitant, would jump on the brakes when a person did something that was a little bit unexpected. Like the person that just walked in front of us here. They weren't in the side, they left the crosswalk and got a little bit closer to the car than they should have. But the Tesla seems to handle that the same way a person would, which is pretty impressive. I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles, is that no matter how you slice it, AI is just never going to act the same way that people do behind the wheel of a car. And even if it's safer, the fact that it behaves in ways that are just a little different from people gives you kind of an uneasy feeling, and can even be panic inducing. One example is, staying in the middle of a lane when there's a big truck next to you. It's perfectly safe staying in the middle of the lane, but a human driver tends to shade a little bit over to give the truck a little bit more room. And it's just, and it may not even be quite as safe to do that, but the truck is intimidating to most people, and so they'll give it a little more space. It's just little things that are just never going to be the same between AI and humans. And we just either have to kind of adjust or get used to it, or the engineers have to work really hard to try to match human behavior to the extent that they can. It's not an easy job.
So, like, for example, I would have gunned it through that yellow light.
Well, the Honda in
But
front of us.
But that's just me, though.
Right. Right. Following someone through an orange light is classic human behavior. Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see AI doing that.
It'd be funny though if like AI developed more human characteristics and like would start having road rage or something. That's we're all screwed.
More likely though, it's human response to the AI driver in front of them who's following the traffic laws, like not speeding. And that can get people frustrated. And frustrated people do sometimes pretty stupid things. Did you guys get Sandy's last time we were here?
No.
Ice cream. We might have to stop there.
I did bring it up last time I was here with you.
Ice cream is usually like my number one stop. So I might drag you to an ice cream shop. It's a warm enough day for ice cream.
You still get people like turn heads because there's no driver, or people getting used to it by now?
Oh, for sure. That's one of those things. People aren't quite used to that, so I feel like the more we, navigate this Austin area, yeah, there are some people that are alarmed to see it. Just, even Waymo, for example, they see those vehicles and they're like, it's definitely either a head scratcher or a head turner.
Yep. The Waymos are easy to spot because of the
Equipment
yeah,
on them, yeah.
right. Big sensor dome on top.
There goes one right now.
Right. Sensors on all four corners.
Yeah, it's not that Waymo didn't do a bad job. It just the Tesla just seems more smoother.
So would you say it feels like a much more refined product or what?
It's more like a friend coming to pick you up and driving you. The Waymo felt like a taxi, and they have the robot voice telling you, giving you the 1 minute spiel for the safety as you get in. So it's more of a taxi experience. I would say it's more polished from a taxi perspective. But yeah, the Robo Taxi feels more like a friend coming to pick you up and taking you across town.
I like that description. Also, if you are looking for an ice cream spot, please try Amy's Ice Cream.
Amy?
Yeah, Amy's Ice Cream.
Amy's Ice Cream. That sounds great. It's okay.
I'd recommend the Mexican vanilla to start.
Okay.
If you are a fan of vanilla.
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got me pegged.
I'm not not the biggest ice cream fan. I mean, if I do, like, I'm still a giant child, so I like Superman.
Oh, okay. So did you happen to see the movie recently? Or what?
Nah, not yet. So it's on my list.
Same, me too.
I wonder if a person would choose to have taken this route. As always, even Google Maps, which has been doing route planning for a long time, this takes people on some pretty wonky routes. Here, it could have stayed on that road and then gone left and left. And instead it decides to do this neighborhood route.
Give me the scenic route. Well, my parents growing up don't like going on an expressway. So I used to think my Uncle Mike lived a lot further away because we would take we would take back roads and it would take 45 minutes to get there, but it's like a 10-minute ride up the expressway.
Oh man. Definitely had my fair share of having to go on road trips with the family too. Almost every weekend. Riding out to Victoria to see the grandparents.
Okay, sneak us in the back way here.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. So we just did our third Tesla Robotaxi ride. We've done one Waymo.
Yep.
And I guess what stood out the most, it's kind of been uneventful. Other than that first hiccup with the Tesla Robotaxi, it's been smooth. It's been just like riding in a car.
Right. Well, that's what you want in a taxi, right? A taxi should not be the most eventful part of your day. So yes, it's been uneventful, but we have captured, I think, kind of the state of where the AI is right now for driving in traffic. So it's had to adjust for passengers, for pedestrians and cars in the road and traffic and construction and whatnot. And so
what also stands out to me is, so Waymo has all the sensors, LiDAR, radar, cameras, all that. And then Tesla is basically just using cameras and their AI.
Right.
And from a Munro perspective, right? So that's cheaper.
Yes, right. And in general, the simplest answer that works is the best. Time will tell, because there's a threshold of safety that Waymo has at this point, a track record that is pretty enviable in the industry right now for the number of miles without incident. So at this point, they are the dog to catch. But we both noticed it. Tesla has a much more natural feel to the driving. So in order to get that safety, Waymo has sort of cranked up the gain on their algorithm so that it reacts quickly, maybe quicker than a person, but that makes the car feel twitchy. So
It definitely felt more twitchy compared to the Tesla.
right,
And the Tesla feels more natural,
It does.
more like just everyday driving. Like,
yeah, it imitates the way a human drives better than the Waymo does at this point. I'm not sure if that's what we wanted in an AI driver, but to me it felt immediately comfortable. So, except for the fact that, I mean, it did leave us stranded in an intersection, and that was a bit iffy. Thankfully, that it was human drivers all around us that adjusted for that while we were in the intersection. So hopefully things get better as they go.
Now, you brought up a good point about who these kind of autonomous driving is for. And you brought up your parents who are still not only alive in their mid-90s, driving in their mid-90s.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate that my parents are in their mid-90s. My dad just recently drove to Lake Michigan. They still drive, and they really like the freedom that cars give them, right? So cars are all about freedom. And so getting behind the wheel and being able to go wherever you want, when you want to go, is a huge part of what's been American life for the last century. And so I hope that AI driving, Tesla Robotaxi is one of them, is there for me when I'm that age, so that I can just continue to go where I want to go, when I want to go, when I'm no longer able to drive. Or, like I said, if I'm just too damn lazy to drive, I can call someone to take care of it. Or, maybe I'm not in any condition to drive. So those are the cases where I think that AI driving is really handy.
Yeah. And what, so as the audience knows, we have a Model 3 with full self-driving. We have a Cybertruck with full self-driving. So we are used to full self-driving. So this wasn't much of a departure from that, other than there's no one in the driver's seat. So it felt natural, it felt comfortable. I made the comment when we were driving, like when me and Sandy went to the launch event for this at Warner Brothers, that felt a little different and a little more futuristic because there was no steering wheel, there was no pedals. That felt different and weird, and took me a minute. Okay, but once you got a couple laps, you felt comfortable. This, right away, because I'm used to full self-driving, especially on Sandy's Cybertruck. I've driven it, hands-free to Cincinnati and back, which is 4.5 hours from Detroit. You get used to it pretty quick.
Well, I've done the full self-driving, and I do have my complaints about it. It does every once in a while something a little bit wonky, which causes me to have to take over. And so I think they're a little short of the claim of full self-driving at the moment. But having said that, they're making the steps along that path, and what they're doing here in Austin is a huge step on that path.
Now, speaking of no steering wheels, you mentioned that you have experience with the GM Cruise.
Yeah,
and they actually didn't have no steering wheel.
they did. They did. They were operating in San Francisco for almost a full year. Had a whole fleet operating for a full year, mostly without incident, but that ended tragically with an accident. And their story has been in the headlines for a while, where a human driver hit a pedestrian, threw the pedestrian in front of the cruise vehicle. At that point, the pedestrian was severely injured, maybe dead already, but we don't know. But unfortunately, the cruise vehicle ran over the pedestrian and didn't recognize that it had done that. And so
Which is a
it's just
problem.
behavior that no human would ever do. And, it's at that moment that was a crystal clear moment where it's not good enough to just be safer than people. It has to respond the way a person responds. And I think right now Tesla is doing a better job at making a vehicle that acts like a person under most circumstances. It's just going to take time to prove it out over, millions of miles on the road to show that under all circumstances, even the wildest thing like what happened in San Francisco is something that the AI can handle.
So I wanted to point out, so when we did our rides, the Tesla Robotaxi picked us up in areas that it could get in and out of easily. So we're staying, at a Hilton, and instead of pulling up to the valet area where we're waiting, it made us walk like 2.5 blocks for it to pick us up. And then when it dropped us off and picked us up at the last location, it went in like the back parking lot so it could easily get in and out, which is also something what a human Uber driver would have not have done. They would have come straight to you.
And for that matter, the Waymo driver that dropped us off at the hotel dropped us pretty much right off at the door of the hotel. So yeah, they're at this point, they're limiting where the routes can go to make it easier for the AI, which at this point is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's kind of what I expected. It works good. No real surprises.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the progress, and thanks to Austin for agreeing to host this. That this kind of you have to have a group of people who are willing to understand and deal with new technology as it comes out. So the people of Austin have been, hosting this experiment.
And on that note, I am sweating. I'm starting to feel like Carl does when
It
he
is
does his
July
videos. So
in
we're going to wrap it
Texas.
up. Thanks for watching. Thank Tesla for inviting us, and we'll see you on the next one.